What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan, and this is my stock market update for 6/12 going into 6/15. Friday was about a break-even day for me. If I was a little bit less jumpy, Friday probably would have been a decent update, but not a great update for me because my stocks were mixed. Um, Going into next week, I think there's two scenarios that are probable, and then I think there are two other scenarios that are improbable but possible. So the two probable scenarios that I think are going to happen is, as you can see, this is the channel I think we're currently trading in until this falls apart. So futures are gapping down right now, not significantly, but they're near Friday's lows. So there's a chance that we chop and maybe even break below this trend line intraday, and then we get support and come back up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then towards the end of the week we have a nice up day that sets us up for a move towards 10,000 again. So sideways. I think sideways is very probable. The other thing I think is probable is sideways down to the 50-day moving average, at which point we would get support, and that would be a buying opportunity off the 50-day, which is about to be 9,000. I think those are the two most likely scenarios for this week: sideways or down to the 50 to be a buying opportunity. The two improbable scenarios that are still possible, and I'll be ready to act if this happens, is a huge engulfing candle tomorrow since we're currently gapping down, and then new highs Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, monster up week. That's not very probable, but totally possible. The other one would be huge down day, and if we had a huge down day on Monday, we'd likely go to 9,000, and that's where I would expect us to get support. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, also big down days with no support, and the market sells off into a big correction. So with that being said, I'm going to try to wait till the end of the day to make most of my calls. I'm going to try not to get fooled by intraday volatility because I expect there to be high amounts of intraday volatility next week. And I think most likely we're about to set up a buying opportunity. It's just whether or not the market's going to sell off another 5% before it catches support, which could totally happen. So that being said, I'll show you what I'm in. I'll show you what I did on Friday, and I'll show you what I'm looking at going into next week. So I'm still in Adobe, and on Friday I actually added back a quarter position to Adobe because I sold half my position going into earnings because that was a bad day, and I took some profit. I added back near the open price. So I'm down slightly on the add-on, but I'm up big on my first buy, which I believe was somewhere over here at 350. Amazon, I'm still in Amazon. I've been rocking Amazon since about $2,000. So I didn't touch Amazon on Friday, and I haven't touched Amazon in a while. BioMarin, now I did get a little bit sneaky with BioMarin. I've got right at half a position in BioMarin, so I went ahead and added like 5% of a position to it on Friday. And I'm looking to add on again if this gives my buy signal, which would be a clear candle above this dotted red line, which is the 8-day exponential moving average. It might have another down day or two, but I think BioMarin could turn into something special. So I'm going to try to size up and average up into this thing if it starts showing some more support. And if it had a good candle on Monday, I'm going to buy more shares. Domino's Pizza, didn't touch this. I don't want to touch Domino's unless it breaks the 50 decisively or unless it breaks out to new highs above 400. So my buy is somewhere around 370, and I'm just going to try to hold that and see if it can work. I've got a full position in here. Dexcom, I added a few shares, and I got it somewhere in the wick. So I'm right at break even on Dexcom. I would sell half at 360 next week, and then I'd hold the other half into the 50-day moving average. If it's up on Monday, I'm going to fill this out and make it a full position. GSX is something I bought at the close. I bought it at the close. I didn't buy big. I only bought about 1/5 of a position, and I'll probably buy another fifth if it were to break out above 45 on high volume tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm just going to let this sit. There's a lot of news, a lot of crazy things going on with this company. It's a Chinese company, but I really love this double bottom chart. It looks textbook to me. It looks even better on a weekly chart. You look at that, you can see it. It's a double bottom, nice and controlled. The volume signature is exactly what you'd want to see on this type of base. And this company's got insane earnings. I mean, I know people say Chinese companies just make it up and they're a black box, but if those earnings are true, this stock could be a model book stock that goes on for quite a run. And going around the horn, just to not get too out of the woods, but other Chinese companies are quite strong right now. Zito is another one. So China is an area of strength in the market, and this is an IPO in a Chinese IPO with great earnings. So I started a fifth of a position in it near the closing price. Still rocking Melly. This is a full position for me. Haven't touched it since I bought it, which my buy is at like $7.50. Netflix, I sold half of my Netflixes on Friday. That's not reason to jump ship, but good God, Netflix needs to catch. If it's red on Monday, I'm out. And if it catches, I'm going to buy back and I'll have a full position, and I'm excited about this. But Netflix has been lagging for me, and I'm about to get rid of Netflix and say good riddance. Good riddance. Unless it gets above the 50 again, then I might buy it. PayPal, I'm still sitting in PayPal. I've got 2/3 of a position in this, and I want to add on more. I think if it's decisively above 160, I'll add on, and then I'm going to do the 21 plus a day to sell it. Regeneron, I would sell half of this on Friday or on Monday if this is looking weak, just because it looks like it's going to yank down to the 50, which is below my buy point. I would do half and then the other half at the 50 and be looking to buy it if it catches at the 50. And then if it just chops sideways and goes higher, I'll probably just hold it because I've got a full position in Regeneron. Shopify, if it has a big update tomorrow, say above 760, I'm going to buy on more. I've got just under half a position in Shopify, so I probably wouldn't make it a full position, but maybe like a 2/3 or a 75% position. Tandem, this is a full position, and I would actually size it up to slightly bigger than full if it had an update on Monday or Tuesday. As long as it holds this 50, if it breaks the 50, I'm going to sell it. If it holds the 50, I'm going to size this thing up and make it a bigger position. And then Twilio, I started a third position in Twilio on Friday. I'm a seller below Thursday's low. I know Twilio is one of the leaders in this market, but this might be a little too early. And if Twilio has an up day above 200, I'm going to maybe make it a half position. And it's a third right now, maybe size it up to a half or 2/3, and then try to just sit in there with it. But the thing about Twilio is it might need to consolidate for a couple more weeks, but 3 months from now, I think the stock is higher. So I'm going to sell it if it's lower because my buy point's wrong, but this is something I'm going to try to buy it every time it sets up because I think it's going to go higher. And then Vertex, I rebought a half position in Vertex because I sold the whole thing on Thursday, and now it gave a harami on Friday. I'm selling against the low, and then if it has an up day on Friday and it holds up, I'll probably make it full position again and have my stop at 260. So that's all that I'm in, and then I'll show you what I sold. I already told you I sold my Netflix. I sold half of Netflix on Friday. I intraday traded NVIDIA for a 1% loss. I probably should have held it. I was trying to sneak in, but intraday, this thing made new lows twice, so I went ahead and just cut it. And then I let go of Take Two. That's something I bought on Thursday. I sold it for, I think, a 2% loss. Yeah, I sold it for a 2% loss. And then I already told you I cut out a half of my Vertex. So I cut out a half of Vertex is what I did. Okay. So and that's the moves I made. Going into next week, what do I like? I like Chegg. If Chegg can get above the 8-day moving average, I'm a buyer with both hands. I like Okta. If Okta can get above the 8-day moving average, I like that setup. I want in. I won't buy big. All these I would buy small because they're already stocks that are running, but I would start positions in them. ServiceNow, I still like ServiceNow. I've been shaken out of it several times during this. You can see it's been in a range for the last few weeks, but this thing I think eventually resolves the upside. So I'm a buyer if this is strong again tomorrow. NBIX, if this thing can get above the 8-day, I want in. TER, if this thing can get above the 8-day, I want in. QRVO, same story. Above the 8-day, I want in. Zscaler. I'm looking for that up day on Zscaler. This one's going to be hard to buy, but I love Zscaler. I think it's going higher. And just as a last one, this one's a little bit more speculative. Labu, which is the triple biotech ETF. If this thing's green, I wouldn't buy big because you got to size it for the shake, which it looks like it wants to test, $40 would be your support. So you have to size it for about a 10% loss. So I wouldn't buy big because I'd size it to where 10% doesn't hurt my pocketbook. But this would be a spot to get an early entry into Labu potentially. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at for next week. Altogether, we're still in an uptrend. It's way too early to give up on this market. One big down day, which is no doubt that's a change of character, that big down day. but it doesn't actually break the trend yet. So the trend is still intact. It's this uptrend that we've been in, still intact. However, it would be perfectly normal and acceptable for this thing to sell off to the 50-day moving average and then get support at the 50 and then go higher. So, and it would probably go higher at a slower rate of ascent because this current rate of ascent is unsustainable. If you look back historically, the market doesn't usually hold this steep of an angle. Usually angles that are sustainable are much less steep, and this is a logarithmic chart, so you can kind of see the steeper the angle, the harder it is to hold. And that's just a kind of a rule of the stock market. So the fact that this channel is so steep, one day this channel will break, and it won't be like years from now. It'll be probably this year that this channel gets broken. So with that in mind, it might be time for the channel to break and then us start a slower rate of ascent. And that would be perfectly normal, healthy garden variety action. So as always, this is just, I make these videos because I think these are videos that I would have liked to have had access to whenever I started trading. I'm giving you my ideas, my thoughts. None of this is advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm somebody that trades for a living, and I'm showing you what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. Think for yourself. Make your own moves. Don't do anything because I say I'm doing it. Think for yourself. Let's crush this market. Let's make some money. Good luck, guys, and I'll talk to y'all soon.